actually not easy to understand. So I will try to make it a little bit understandable. And before I start that, because we will be recording this video and posting, and there were parts of the book that were in physics, I believe in philosophy. He has degree in applied mechanics, and he has a PhD as well. He's worked as he worked on many programs with in different parts of in Russia, in Kazakhstan, and with Russian Science Academy. So he's a member of many science academies. So he has great credibility, and he has written many books, more than 60 as far as I know, and he has given something like 350, more than 350 seminars, which have been translated, and almost every word of his was transcribed and made into a book. I don't think actually every seminar he gave has been translated, so there is a lot of material that is not available in any other language apart from Russian. I know there is a lot of material available in Serbian language as well, but not that much of his work is available in other languages. And I know that there is a team of people working on that, so that's a great news. Starting about the book Hayrukulus, what I would like to do now, so I don't know, I hope that most of you have the book. So if you have the book, I would like you to go to the page which that's before the book starts. So it's a forward. It's a kind of introduction. So there is a great message just in that introduction part. So I'd like you to pay a little bit of attention to this. So he says that human consciousness is infinite, and that for man to live eternally, it is necessary that he knows how to expand his consciousness through creative thinking and according to the laws that have been directly and indirectly given in this book. Okay, so here you have quite a bit of information, actually. So the next paragraph is, he says that when there are sudden changes in our perception, when you are observing, you're looking at one picture, and then you move to another, and it's a sudden change. And if the first picture you're looking at has no connection with the other one, so you're just moving, you're looking at one picture and then you're moving to another. And if you do that suddenly, and it appears that those two pictures are not in any connection, this sudden sudden change in observation, in perception, can be creatively controlled. So you can actually discover an information that gives eternal life. and it gives also a development of the spirit. So this is built on somehow readiness. It is built on how ready you are to observe these images, these pictures, and your task is, of course, eternal life. So you ponder a little bit on this information. You can look at the image, you can look at the picture, and then you move suddenly and look at another image which seemingly have no connection, but there is an information hidden in that sudden movement when you're looking from one picture to another. He says that unexpected changes in the tone, in the flow of giving, in the flow of this narrative information, somehow bring the events of eternity, which are explained through diversity, which allows the thinking to direct that information, to manage that information. The creator who has formed the thought which directs, the thought that creates events which are necessary for eternal life, has the knowledge that guarantee the eternal life, that guarantee the eternal life to him. So in the last, we are still at the beginning of the book. So it's the forward. So the last paragraph says, the creator who formed the thought which directs and creates events that are necessary for eternal life towards any object that exists in reality, in our perception, has the knowledge which guarantee him eternal life. So this is a bit long, this this last paragraph, but I hope that you understood the meaning. We have a question here. Is the book written to structure our consciousness in an individual way? Yes, my understanding is that the book helps and works towards structuring our consciousness. So when you are reading, of course, you're receiving very important information, and that information will affect your consciousness. Yes, so each person, another question is, so each person that reads it will have an individual experience. Yes, you will have an individual experience, because I have noticed actually in some of your comments in the book club, some of you have read the book, some of you are reading the book. When you're reading the book and you're posting the comments about the book, each one of you will be posting that what is in your perception. So what you perceive while reading the book will be what you will be posting. So think about that for a moment. What is the message that you have received from the book? Even though the English language translation is not that good, I still believe that you will receive the message that was important to you. Another question that we have, which is really yes. So how did he fly from planet to planet? Well, I don't know. What do you think? So how do you think Hayrukulus flied from one planet? How did he fly? He flew which way? How? As a bird? Or was he with his thoughts? So ponder on that question and then see what happens. Okay, we have a question here. Is Hayrukulus a bird that became a human, but also God? I am a little bit reluctant to answer questions directly and to say this is it, because it will be my perception of understanding, the way I understand the book, the way I perceive this. So I would really like that you post something, and especially for those of you who have read the book, if you could post some of your observation or what you found while reading the book, because the information, for example, that I found fascinating, and that was about the time. It says that the year between 2014 and 2017, since the birth of Christ, were the years where the knowledge about eternal life blossomed. It was a huge number of people on planet Earth received the information about eternal life, and I think that is beautiful. Disappeared and appeared simultaneously. Yes, I think that is a great observation, that the book does seem to simulate our imagination, so that each person has their own experience. This was an observation from, I don't want to mention names, but one of the listeners. She says, I feel the book simulates our imagination, so each person has their own experience. Well, how do you feel when you read the book? What was the information that jumped at you? What was the information that you found most helpful or most unusual? For example, how do you feel about receiving the information that the new generations, they were born, they had different internal organs? So, for example, it says here that their stomach and their intestines became eternal even before they became aware about that. And he's saying here that the food was digested in such way that it wasn't digested entirely on this plane of existence, like it was before the year 2012. So the people have noticed that there were changes on micro level, and those changes concern everyone. So these were the changes on micro level regarding eternal life, and this was it was like a awakening, like self-awakening. Okay, so let me see. Yes, so any more questions, please post in the question box. We have a question box there. So let me just go through some other information. something else that may be or whatever it is that comes to you first when you read the book. What part of the book did you find the most interesting, or where you thought the information what appeared it was actually relevant maybe to what is happening now to humanity and to or what is happening maybe to you. Okay, so we have a question. What is meant by the universe began to shrink? So what do you think? How did that happen? I'm actually wondering if I can find that. Do you have a page? So the person who posted the question, what does he mean by the universe began to shrink? If you can post the page, I can take a look, because it is very interesting to see how the information is changing. And at the beginning of the book, in a foreword, I think it's explained really well how sudden changes and moving from observing one situation or one image and suddenly jumping into the next one, how there is how you can discover information right there in that gap. So this is quite interesting. So think about when you read the book. Okay, so I'm just reading here what has been posted. I think it means humans became aware that they are multidimensional, and that's how it shrunk. Okay, page 7 after the paragraph. So I'm just going to look for that here, because if you think about yourself as multidimensional, as somebody who can live consciously in many different dimensions, can you do that? How does that feel when you get that information? So if you receive an information and you ponder on that information, try to receive that information on a cellular level or on a heart level. See how it feels, because we live in a feeling universe. How does it feel when you get that information? I am multidimensional being. So here we said the years from 2014 to 2017 were the years when the knowledge of eternity flourished magnificently among the huge number of population. And then and the food, the information about the food, how the food was being digested, and the micro changes that were appearing, and also the changes, also the information about animals. He says, and while animals can understand what a person thinks when he sees them. So, and the animals stopped to be destroyed. Civilization became eternal, not just around the man, but also the entire universe. So here is the interesting part. The universe began to shrink, reaching the level of the Earth, and everyone understood that the Earth is a universe that will expand and contract, but it will never end. And anybody born takes her this way. He thinks that he was born in the universe because he did not accurately. he did not accurately know that outside of his crib and the room where he sleeps and even when awake. Okay, so this is a little bit confusing. I'm going to check another translation here. He thinks that he was born in the universe. Let me just see. Because when you look at different translations and then you do your own translation, if you know different, like if you speak different languages, then it becomes a little bit easier to understand. So what is saying here? What he is saying? See, the children. Let me just go back to see. He thinks that he was born in cosmos. Yeah, so this is an information, you see, that seems to change and jump from one to another. That he thinks that he was born in a cosmos, but he doesn't see further than his own crib, or depends which English language translation. In British English, we have the word cot, which is small bed where the baby sleep. So in American English, there will be a different word. So let me just see. Yes. So, but here, if you look at this information, the crib, as he cannot see outside his crib and the room where he sleeps, and even when he's awake. So what information, if you look at that, could that be a metaphor? So take this as a metaphor and see how that feels. What information are you receiving there? So and then we have information that the children became conscious, the children became very smart, and they became smarter than adults. So the adults have had to really understand their thinking. They had to kind of put a great, really concentrate in order to understand the thinking of children, or how the children were perceiving the world. And that is how the entire civilization started moving towards eternity. Receiving the knowledge. So here he says that we are moving towards eternity, but it's gaining that consciousness that helps us move towards eternity. Because to move towards eternity, we know that with ordinary human consciousness, that is not happening. So we have to change that and work on structuring our consciousness and constantly read and study. And for that reason, doing daily exercises that Dr. Grabovoi gave, that's a good starting point, because people, when they start developing and reading, the more books you read, the more you study, the more seminars you attend, webinars, what's happening is you're receiving more and more information, and you're constantly moving and going higher, structuredness, to ever higher level. Okay, we have a great comment here. I thought the baby would think it's born on Earth because he can't see outside his room. Okay, well that is good. One way of perceiving that information. Another person is writing, he perceives his world according to his filters. It is like thinking inside a box. Yes, of course. That is a great observation. Another comment, yes, and we can see this with 8 and 9-year-olds now. Well, we can see that there are a lot of children who are very smart and who can actually solve almost any problem that we have or our planet has. There are a lot of children that have been working with solving any ecological disasters, with working with recycling, saving our waters, and so that is absolutely fascinating. Okay, so this is Anna, if I write something here, I lost the audio. How can I come back or continue listening? Okay, so this webinar is being recorded, so it will be available as an audio, but it will also be available as a video. So I'm just checking what else is there. So please do post your comments, do post your questions, and let's go through this together. Okay, so here's another great comment. He's like an innocent baby, not yet mature. It suggests our consciousness is still like a baby. Our perception is still very, very limited. Okay, the more we work on structuring the consciousness, the more we study, the more we connect with this knowledge, the more we strive to do that. And if you strive to do this from your heart, this work is understood. It has to go through the heart. I mean, we try to do this through the brain, through our mind, and that is okay. Some people have to go that path. You study, you work whatever way feels right for you. However, it comes to the point when you have to connect with the heart and you work on helping the entire humanity, the entire planet, all the beings, and then you work on your personal goals. So this is one of the most important things to remember in all the teachings, in all the when we work with Dr. Grabovoi's methods, and we work with we work with any of the methods or with any numbers. What is the most important thing is to understand that when you have this knowledge, then you are really powerful. You are the creator. You create your reality. So if there is something happening in your everyday life, something happening in your family, something happening in your country, you have to understand that you are not helpless, because with this knowledge you are working on helping everyone. Everything that we do has to be in harmony with everyone. So when you are being put into situations, especially situations that are difficult, or it could be any kind of situation in your town or in your country, when you work with these methods and you work for the benefit of everyone, you have to realize that all the forces of light, of good, move closer to you, because what you do takes priority. You are working on saving lives, on helping people. You are not working on destruction. We will not be able to move forward with destruction. We can't create this reality anymore with any destructive methods. We have to move forward creatively. Working only creative and harmonious thinking and actions, when we are forming business partnerships, or we are going into any kind of personal, any kind of partnership on any level, that has to be done through creativity and harmony with everyone. And I'm not talking just with humans. I'm talking about harmony with nature, harmony with animals, harmony with plants, with all the life on our planet. So sometimes you can find that people post comments and say, well, I feel a little bit helpless because something is happening on our planet. There are all sorts of things going on. You are not helpless. You are absolutely not helpless, because your thinking and your perception of that particular event is important. So if you see something happening, and if it is destructive or it's harmful towards any beings or towards our planet, then you just think, aha, what is the method that I know? What is that I have studied from Dr. Grabovoi's teachings that I can implement right now in this situation that can help everyone? So just think about that. And we have another book that is absolutely fascinating, and that is the book about resurrection. It's absolutely fascinating book. There is so much information there. Okay, I'm just going to read another comment from one of our listeners. Before coming in the body, we see everything. There is no filter to see the wholeness of the universe. Once we get in the body, this capacity dissolves gradually. I know for a fact from a spontaneous recollection of how it happened when I came in the body. Okay, Jacques, I hope I read this correctly. So there is the okay. So this comes. This is quite interesting observation. How before coming in the body we see everything, and there is no filter to see the wholeness of the universe. And once we get in the body, this capacity dissolves gradually. I know for a fact from a spontaneous recollection. Okay, so here we have a body. But what else do we have? So for those of you that have been in Dr. Grabovoi's teachings a bit longer, you know that we have, he teaches us that we have soul, spirit, consciousness, and physical body. So there is 4 parts of you. So you have soul, spirit, consciousness, and physical body. What is happening? All 4 are created to last eternity. We have, Dr. Grabovoi wrote a great, there is a great book about physical body, and the information which says that soul is constantly struggling to keep the physical body alive. So your physical body is part of your soul. Soul was not somehow able to keep physical body before, but now it is. Now the soul can keep the physical body for eternity. We are learning with Dr. Grabovoi's teaching, studying his work, we are learning how to regenerate and rejuvenate so that the body stays with us for eternity. Okay, so this is a great news. You have soul, you have spirit, you have consciousness, and you have physical body. And all four are created to exist eternally. So how does that make you feel? Because I know when I spoke with some people, it was like, but how can I live eternally? Why do I want to live eternally? Because you know, there is that confusion because there is information in a collective consciousness that holds that. So we know that everything that is in collective consciousness is. We have a comment here. Wonderful. I want to live eternally. Yes. You will. So this is a wonderful information. You have and I would like to go back to Hayrukulus a little bit more, and I don't know if anybody wants to make any comments, because in Hayrukulus there is wonderful information about the civilization, about there are many things there that it's kind of unusual. It's not your regular book, and if you understand that information that is held in the collective consciousness influences our reality, then what we are doing with this work by changing and structuring your consciousness, you are contributing to the change in collective consciousness, which again, there is a big kind of crack that appeared in collective consciousness belt, which brings the light of eternal life to everyone. So if you ponder on that information, yes, exactly. Trees live eternally, mountains live eternally, so why not humans? Well, we are in the study group that I'm currently where we are currently going through Dr. Grabovoi's webinar, his seminar about time, and we had one during his seminar. He made a comment. It says like, could you make an appointment to meet someone, for example, 100 years from now? So if you think 100 years from now, it will be 2016. Now is 2000, sorry, I beg your pardon, 2116. Where are you going to be in a year 2116? So will that building that you are in be there? Will that mountain be there? So you see, this will stretch your consciousness. This will expand your consciousness. So here is another comment. I'm just going to read here. It's hard for me to assimilate or believe that we can have our body eternally. I do believe that I am eternally. My soul, spirit, consciousness is eternal, but it's hard to assimilate that my body isn't going into the dying process. Okay, so one, the reason, in my opinion, why the body is not being presented as something eternally, that can exist eternally, is simply the information held in collective consciousness. Why is the body not eternal? Why would the Creator create something that would not last or exist eternally. Now ponder on that information. Why? And if you have physical body that exists eternally, then how does that make you feel? Because if you are studying and reading, and I would suggest that you get Dr. Grabovoi's book on resurrection, which is available on Amazon, you will find out that there is a lot of the resistance in collective consciousness about physical body being eternal is somehow disappearing, because there is a very big number of people that wants to regenerate and rejuvenate their physical body so they can live eternally. So if you study or you read the book on resurrection, you will get a lot of information there, which is absolutely fascinating. Because you see, we had information that there was reincarnation, but reincarnation is not happening anymore. It's resurrection. So what is resurrection? So the consciousness has to be the first one to recognize the eternal. Well, yes, I suppose your soul already knows, spirit knows, so you on a conscious level, how you perceive this reality is how it is. And also our thinking. So what we are thinking and what we are saying creates our reality. So that is, again, the thoughts are physical. And if you actually go back to Hayrukulus, you will find in one paragraph, so I'm going to see if I can find it, Dr. Grabovoi talks about how thoughts are physical. So I'm not sure which one of the characters, was it one of the names there, or was it, he says the creator, you could see that the thought had a form. That is why you see, pay attention to your thoughts, because thinking is an action. It's not just doing, getting up and going and doing something. You're thinking. What you are thinking, you are creating. Okay, so I'm going to see. Right. Well, there has been, maybe because we need different experiences in different bodies. I think we have had a lot of different experiences in a lot of different bodies. So now that is not happening anymore. Now we are learning to regenerate, rejuvenate. You can grow missing organs. You can, there is a great number, 519-7148, and that says, to the Creator, anything is possible. So that is always good to remember. Here we have someone's beliefs create reality. If you change the belief that you have to die, to that you don't have to die, then you won't die. Okay, yes, you have to live eternally. You have to constantly think eternally, thoughts, new thoughts. So how does that make you feel? I said to someone the other day, we were talking, and if you think of anybody that you know who is maybe I don't know, 90 years old or 80 something years old, and if you ask that person, where do you think you are going to be in 20 years from now? So like 20 or 30 years from now. Where are you going to be? So if you ask that person, see how they will respond, because it's interesting that people who are 80 something or 90 something, and you ask them, where are you going to be in 20 years or 30 years time? You know, some people may start to think about that, and they may not be surprised, but some people can actually get surprised by that question. Connect with the trees. I'm just going to read another comment. Connect with the trees and the mountain and the river. We can ask them about eternity because they only know eternity. Yes, yes, even an old horse looks very similar to a younger horse, only human looks old, but this is changing. We will learn to stay young and healthy. Yes, indeed. Indeed, we will learn to stay young and healthy. And we have all four parts of us, soul, spirit, consciousness, and physical body. They are created to be eternal. So that is great news. We can learn how to rejuvenate, and move from one dimension to another in a physical body. We can experience what is to be Black or Asian, or maybe we have a disability. It is all about learning and know that I'm not the body, I'm not physical matter, because I'm more than physical matter. Well, I have recently learned that actually physical and spiritual are very connected, and actually more connected than we think or that we have been told. So if something is not perfect in the physical, we can change that, and that is a great news. So physical body is very important. And if you ponder on this information, how can I keep my physical body alive forever? How can I rejuvenate, regenerate? How can I don't know, what do you want to change? You can change anything you want with your physical body. It doesn't matter. So if we have, I'm reading another comment, so if we have had a lot of different bodies, which one is resurrected? What if I was Eve and now I'm someone else and I get eternal life? What happens to Eve? You see, I don't have all the questions. You will have to find these answers yourself. But this physical body that you have, you can keep forever. You just learn how to regenerate, rejuvenate, and change anything that you want. You can grow parts, grow organs. So this is, you see, to do this takes structuring the consciousness to the highest level, because the information that says that physical body is not important is an old story that is held in collective consciousness, and it's holding us. So think about that for a moment. I asked my 96-year-old relative what she wanted to do. She gave days about a book she wants to write. You see, so this is really inspiring. You can go and ask a person who has, who is 96 years old, and just ask them, where are you going to be in 20 years' time? And they tell you, I'm going to write a book. So it's wonderful. We have another comment. Since I started reading about resurrection and eternal life, my outlook on life and my attitude changed without even trying. Well, this is also another wonderful, wonderful information, and the great thing that when you start reading these books and you start getting this new information, which is totally different from anything we have heard before, you do start to change on so many levels. And one of the comments here was that this person wrote, my attitude changed without even trying. So your attitude, your perception, your way of thinking will change. You start feeling differently. You start connecting with lot of with different information. You start meeting new people. So there is a lot going on and a lot happening on so many levels. And if you just getting all this new information and being able to help so many people, this is also fascinating. So the information, physical body is part of the soul, the most dense and concentrated part of the soul. We have the saying, body is the temple of the soul. Of course. Dr. Grabovoi explains in one of his books how the physical body is part of the soul and how the soul is constantly struggling to keep the physical body alive. So we need to help our soul keep the body alive and change the information. If there is something about your physical body you are not happy with, then you can work on changing that. And that is a great news. Okay, how do you learn about resurrection of the body? In the book, in Dr. Grabovoi's book, Resurrection, which is available on Amazon, there are a few different methods of bringing people back. I have personally worked, as soon as I hear that somebody left the physical body, you can just send an impulse with the number 21454432, and you say, I send an impulse of resurrection. You say the person's name. This is what I personally do. So this works really fast. But I found when working and studying Dr. Grabovoi's seminar about love, I found that the resurrection happens faster through love. And there is a lot of clairvoyant people who have confirmed to me that we have had people being resurrected during our seminars. So this is, again, from my personal experience and experience of working with so many clients around the world. So what you can do to start is get the book on resurrection. There are also 3 seminars that Dr. Grabovoi gave, and actually he talks separately in each how you can do resurrection through the soul, how you work with resurrection through spirit, and how you work through consciousness. So you will be drawn to whatever is best for you or whatever works best for you. So it is very interesting that when you ask, a lot of times what I do is I kind of go into my heart, I bring awareness into my heart and I ask, is this the book that I should read next, or is this the information that I should take now? So everybody has their own way. Be guided by your intuition, by your inner feeling, or when you feel good about something, and that means that that is right, that is good for you. I'm going to read something again here, which is very interesting, because this information has a big resistance in collective consciousness, but not as much as it used to, because now more and more people want to understand more, that people want to learn this new knowledge. This new knowledge is the knowledge of light. It's absolutely fascinating. It's wonderful. So Anna, for sure, I'm reading just a comment. I'd like the idea to have my body eternally. It is kind of totally new concept and challenge my paradigm of having to die. Can you please repeat the number for God, everything is possible? Aha, the number for, yes, exactly, because if you think the Creator created, so you have a soul, spirit, consciousness, and physical body. All parts, all four, are created to be eternal. So why would Creator create one that wouldn't be eternal? So there is a misinformation that has resulted in dropping the body. But now we know that to God, to Creator, anything is possible. Yeah, so it is possible to keep the physical body eternally. There is actually a person who is about 2,800 years old and lives somewhere in South America, and also there is a yogi who is more than 10,000 years old, and he lives somewhere in Himalayas, somewhere there. So I have been getting all this information. There is actually quite few people who are currently on Earth, and they are more than 1,000 years old. So there is a lot of fascinating information out there. The number, anything is possible, is 519, and then there is space, 7148. So whenever your mind starts questioning and saying, well, how is that possible? You just say to the Creator, anything is possible. 519, 7148. But make sure that what you say is possible, and that what you are doing and what you are working on is creative and harmonious, and it is for the benefit of everyone. Because we can't move forward with destruction. We have to think how we are going to create this world that is going to be eternal, that is going to be harmonious, that everybody is going to live in peace and eternal happiness. How does that feel? People who are peaceful and happy, and they have that inner calmness, they can create wonderful things, amazing things. We can travel between galaxies, we can teleport, we can do all sorts of wonderful things. So just think about that. Okay, so here we have an information in different language, so I will translate. This is very interesting for me. This is information from Dr. Grabovoi's book, Hayrukulus. They fed in such ways so that the big fish ate the small. Those small fish were staying alive, and those bigger, larger, at the same time they were full. I mean, they had a full stomach. From this feeling of fullness, when you had enough to eat, of the big fish, from the feeling that the big fish were full, the small fish also felt and got that feeling of being full. They lived in a very closed system of biological connections, and in a system where the cave hung in the air. So I remember reading that the food and the water. Okay. Yeah, that number I will post later in our Facebook group. It's the number that a lot of people are using. Yes, so the whole information about food and water, eating and drinking will change. One thing that I learned from Hayrukulus is that everything becomes a man sooner or later, because that is a law. It is also law that man is eternal. That's why Hayrukulus and Sishu and Leishu went to earth. Hayrukulus saw that two images, bird and snake, began to merge, and God put the third element, in which is man, created in God's image. This is also very interesting information. So, how everything becomes man sooner or later. It is also law that man is eternal. Now, that is wonderful. He saw that everything eventually became a man. Yes. Yes, the number for resurrection, and that is a great number. You give an impulse of resurrection as soon as you hear that somebody has left the physical body. That is 2145432. 2145432. Okay, so if we are created in God's image, He is eternal, so why wouldn't we be the same? Yes, that is a great observation. If we are created, if Creator created us in His image, then everything is eternal. Every part of us is eternal. So ponder on this. You are a cell in a physical body of one God. How does that make you feel? That you are a cell. And all the entire planet, all the beings, all the galaxies, all the planets, all the universes, they are all part of Creator's physical body. So you are so important. Your physical body is so important. Physical body is connected to our planet Earth. And every time we leave a physical body, our planet suffers. It kind of shrinks. And when the people are resurrected, they come with a piece of Earth. So our planet is expanding. Isn't that wonderful? And there is actually evidence that planet Earth is expanding right now. because there are many people that are being resurrected. We have from the Hayrukulus, page 11. Okay, so if you want to go to page 11, have a look. Have a look what you have there. I'm just going to read a comment from one of our listeners. They lived by order when larger ate smaller. Smaller one at this point stayed alive, and the larger became gorged. The feeling of safety of larger fish forced more shallow one to grow fat. This is not a very good translation. They lived in much closer system of biological connections and features such as cave, which was sort of in the air. They did not know that for cave being in the ground, it had to be earth. They thought that everything was as it should be. They were never told that this was not natural or unreal. You see, this is another part of information. If something is held in a collective consciousness as not being possible or not being real, then that is what is affecting us. If you think that nothing is impossible to the Creator, that everything that is created, that is beautiful, that is beneficial to everyone, is not impossible, then that is the information that we want to have in collective consciousness. It's like we are creating heaven on earth. Yes, exactly. Okay, so yes, we do have another 20 minutes. I asked to be guided in my creations, and this morning when I woke up, I could feel the trees, plants, and animals on earth, and I felt a seamless, harmonious connection with them. So I see this is my guide in my creation process. This is a very good observation, because if you work with Dr. Grabovoi's daily concentration exercises, then you know that in those exercises they structure our consciousness. They are wonderful. Yes, here is another comment. God invites everything to himself. Indeed, everything that you want will come to you when you start living from that place of love for everyone, for all the beings, for all the animals, all the humanity, all the planets, and everything moves towards you in a favorable way. All your events also change, and they just line up in the most favorable way. Okay, so here is another observation. I kind of wondered if we were cells in God's body. After all, our body is mostly cells of bacteria, more bacteria than human cells. No, that is not correct. Our body has, you see, we have that one matrix cell, the God cell, but we are meant to grow all those cells to be God cells. God's body has all the cells that are cells that live in many different dimensions simultaneously. So how do you feel of having, because if you are light, your cells generate and create light. How does that feel? Changing the present and future with modifying the past. Every moment when everything started. Yes, we have that unity of past, present, and future, where when we worked and studied the seminar on time, you can work with time, but you can step outside of time. So this is a different program. On page 15, here they saw a dawn, which after they did not want to look upon. This was the dawn. This is from Hayrukulus. This was the dawn of thunderous man-made disasters, and they realized that they have to make a heroic act to avoid a disaster, because it was a nuclear war. And they sent their impetus to first proton, neutron, first arising in a site of the explosion in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Here they saw that they made a war in Los Angeles and Boston to be prevented. Moreover, they prevented it in the future. Now they are free to go down on a plane to the current reality where nobody tells about any war. So this is wonderful, because if you think that our thoughts create our reality, and every moment we create also our future, but the future is totally bright until we start thinking about it and changing something. Because if you think that your future is being taken care of by the Creator, and the Creator created everything perfect and harmonious for you and everyone, and then you start thinking about tomorrow, you start thinking about in a month time, and placing thoughts of worry and fear, and what's happening? You are creating that what you are thinking. So place in the future the thoughts of harmony, the thoughts of beauty, of creative thoughts that will bring solutions to any of the issues that we are having today, to anything that we are facing. So be conscious of that. Okay. Makes sense, as there are physical changes on planet Earth expanding, such as many sinkholes due to expansion. It's all over the news also. I know, because my niece is studying geology, and she said that there is actually, I think there are some points on the planet, whether is it somewhere in France, where they're measuring how the Earth is expanding. And that is wonderful news. We are eternal, we only experience that because of our separation from the Creator. We are like a leaf of the tree, which is the Creator. Yesterday's concentration was about this. United with the Creator will allow us to regenerate even surgically removed organ. Yes, indeed. And this is again now slowly entering the collective consciousness. You have an organ removed, or you need a new organ. Don't look for organ donors. Learn how to grow your own organ. Learn the technology. You are the Creator. So if you are the Creator, you can create. Create creatively and harmoniously, not with destruction. So this is absolutely wonderful. Yes, all our cells, God cells. So the resurrection, the resurrected body is all God cells. Wow, was the machine, the cop head, the PRQ? This is very, very, very interesting question. Yes, well, I don't know. What do you think? So we have a paragraph in the book Hayrukulus which talks about a machine. So let me just find that. So what is that machine? What is that machine that the policeman is talking about? So he said, with the movement of his hand, he pulled out a machine which had small dimensions. And he says, here it is. She thinks, meaning the machine thinks. And I'm following her because I know what you think. So this is very interesting. So one of the comments here that I'm reading is, I think this was PRK1U. Okay. And then he says, we all think like her if we want. But some amongst us, like you or Alexandra, they can rise above the reason of the machine. And that's why I'm not asking her where is Sishu. I ask her where is Leishu, who has millions of years, of milliards of years. And only the consciousness that can kind of comprehend eternity can think in the categories of the person who has millions of years. So this is very, very interesting. Also, there is another interesting information which says he has carefully felt with his finger, or he was carefully touching a thought which was growing. And he understood that it was very important because it was real. So the thought that you have in your head is actually very real. So if you're thinking about something, and just pay attention that what you are thinking is creative and harmonious, that what you are thinking is something that you want to happen. So think of events, for example, that you have happening in your life. Think of something that you want to happen tomorrow or a month from now. And just for a moment, observe how it feels if you say that thought is materializing, become physical. It's going to bring you what you are thinking. So pay attention to your thinking. Pay attention to what you want, because the thinking is action. And then the words that are spoken also echo in eternity, and they go in creating that eternity. How does that feel? Okay, well, we have only another 5 minutes left, so if there are any more questions or observations, please just pose them here and I will read. If not, then I will see you back at Grabovoi's Teachings Book Club That's our Facebook group. So if you go there, just join us there if you haven't. But if you have, then post. You can post in the group your comments or anything that you would like to share from this webinar. So I'm going to actually finish this webinar now because I can't see. Oh, this is so wonderful. Anna, I always feel very good, happy, and loved in your webinars. Thank you so much. You're all loved, and I feel so happy that you have joined me here. So thank you again, and I hope to. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me here, and I hope that you enjoyed as much as I did. Thank you. So I will see you again, and in the meantime, just think wonderful, creative, and harmonious thoughts, and anything that is happening to anyone, you know you have a solution. You have these wonderful methods, and you have so many great books to read and expand your consciousness, and I wish you a happy eternal life. So thank you, and bye bye.